All right, good morning, Port Jervis 8th grade black team. Welcome to Radical Reconstruction. Here's your host, Mr. Ross. Get that magic pen back out. Put a big smile on your face. Let's go. All right, first we got to look at what the word radical means. We talked about in the first section that the group that was opposing President Johnson was the Radical Republicans, and that would be with a capital R. We're going to look at radical, I'm not going to write the whole word, but radical Republicans. But we're going to look first at the lowercase radical. What is a radical? Well, a radical is anybody that is drastically different from the norm. All right, they might have an extreme view on politics or on sports or different colors. All right, so we're looking at a group of politicians who had a radical view on how the South should be treated during Reconstruction. Their number one goal is going to be to protect the rights of African Americans. And that's kind of where they differed with Andrew Johnson. He felt that states should, and radical Republicans feel it should be the government. Okay, so let's look at who some of the key players are. All right, Thaddeus Stevens. If you've ever seen the movie Lincoln, okay, Tommy Lee Jones, one of my favorite actors ever. He plays Thaddeus Stevens really well. Charles Sumner is another one. You may remember him from 7th grade. You may have saw a picture of two senators that were fighting each other in Congress, and one was beating the other with a cane. All right, that was Charles Sumner that was doing the attacking. He was attacking a Southern politician. All right, here were their goals. They wanted to play an active role. If you remember, Lincoln and Johnson didn't want them playing an active role, right? But they wanted to. I told you that the number one goal, right? So we can put a little number one here, is to protect those rights. And they also, this is where they differed from Lincoln, right? They wanted to punish the South. Now, Lincoln was extremely popular, and that's why they kind of really couldn't, disagree too much with him. But Johnson wasn't as popular. They were able to go right after him. All right, and it's important to know that both houses of Congress are going to be controlled by the Republicans. So they really, once they have an idea for a law, there's really nobody stopping them, because if the president vetoed it, they would just override his veto with a vote. Okay, here's your key question for number one. All right, what was the most important goal of Radical Reconstruction? I listed a couple there for you. You need to go back and pluck out what the most important one was. All right, I'll give you a hint. It's not to punish the South. All right, 14th Amendment. If you remember it earlier, we had the 13th Amendment, which bans slavery. Right, the 14th Amendment is the second of the three Reconstruction Amendments. It basically says that if you are born in the United States, you're a citizen and you're entitled to certain rights. If you're not born in the United States, but you're naturalized, which means you go through the process, then you are also considered to be a citizen and you're given those rights, right? One little snag here, and ladies, I'm sorry, but the language sounds like it would include ladies, but women started to attack the 14th Amendment later on in the 19th century, basically saying, wait, we're born here, we're naturalized here, we're citizens, we should be given the right to vote. And they're actually not given the right to vote until into the 20th century, right? But the 14th Amendment essentially says, has a little snippet at the end, that Congress can punish southern states if they are denying the right to vote for African Americans. All right, here's your second key question. All right, how did the 14th Amendment impact African Americans? Essentially, voting is the specific thing, but I want to know what it entitled African American, what it described African Americans as, or former slaves now, after the Civil War, after slavery is banned. Right, and last part, I know this is a really short video, and that's not because it's not important, it just means because it's like boom, 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 done. All right. The Radical Republicans, they pass pretty much their biggest law to help kind of set the stage for their version of Reconstruction, the Reconstruction Acts of 1867. And there are a couple parts. The first part is they use the military. They divide all of the other southern states. If you remember, there are some states that adopted it real quick and they moved on. All right, they adopted Lincoln's plan. But the states that refused to adopt his plan, right, they are now going to be put into military districts. And you can see down here on the color, or down here in the map key, each color represents a different district with one general, right, pretty much controlling that group. right? The dates are going to show you when they are finally readmitted into the Union, right? So you got 5 districts, the military's involved. Are the southern states going to like that? No, they are not. Nobody would like the military controlling their lives, controlling their government after the Civil War. All right, and I told you those were the states that didn't ratify it. All right, remaining states. In order to be admitted into the Union, they had to ratify the 14th Amendment. That was the amendment about declaring former slaves or anyone born here citizens, and that's one thing that Southerners, obviously, they viewed slaves as property. So now they had to have a radical change in how they went about their thought process in the South. All right. Now the question here is, the government, federal government's based in the North. Can they really tell the South what to do? Like, are they going to be down there, telling them what to do every step of the way? You need to do this. You need to do that. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. Right? For the most part, no. So the federal government has to try and find ways to either, pass laws to force them to do it, or try and find some incentives to make the southern governments do this. But it's pretty much, the southern states have lived their life for, since the colonies. They're pretty much set in their ways, and now the federal government's trying to tell them that they need to change, and that's going to be very hard. That's definitely going to lead to conflict. Okay, and then here's your last one. All right, what was the ultimate goal of the Reconstruction Acts of 1867? Right, what was it that they were trying to force southern states to do in order to be readmitted? Remember what we kind of go back to what the goal of the Radical Republicans was, which you should have answered for question 1. Now the Reconstruction Acts were aimed at putting them in districts and then forcing them to do what? All right, I know it was a quick one, but it's a lot of important stuff, so if you need to go back and watch it, just go ahead and go back and watch it.